I'm just gonna use this conversation as an example. I have censored their names because it is, after all, a private conversation between me and just them. Keep in mind that I'm not using this as an example to shame people who talk like that. I'm just using this as an example to explain why, in case people get the wrong idea of why I talk to people the way I talk to them. So he asked me for my identity, and then I just confirmed it. So yeah, and then they asked me, did I manage to snap the cameo? And then they also said that this is bus captain friend, and then some more messages, like just a normal conversation. So this is what I explained. Then he messaged his friend. So at this point of time, I wasn't really clear what he's trying to convey, what he's trying to talk about, and this part made me think he is either a kid, is on the spectrum, or both. So then he tells me that today there is this bus running. And then he asked me if it's a perm. And the reason why I said flexi is because, Mandai, Loyang, Bulim, or even Sunli to some extent, they don't really have true permanent buses in the sense that they just rotate the buses around. Maybe there are perm buses, but it's just not a thing. Like, yes, there may be perms, but it's like when you look at the big picture, Sunli is actually like under SMRT right now is actually kind of flexible in some sense. Then he was like, isn't it 187? So yeah, and I explained. Then the part that got me worried was because of this. And anyway, the reason why I'm showing you all these is because these are real conversations between me and the other person. So I told them I don't understand why you people in general are so obsessed with rare or not rare. And then I was like, okay, just snap or film them, because these buses they're not gonna be around forever. And then he was like, okay, I'll snap. And then I noticed that he is very particular about like the deployments in general. So maybe I thought, oh, he's just more of a like deployments person. Maybe he wants to check the deployments or something. Then I was like, okay, good, keep documenting them, because like what I usually tell people, just document stuff, whether it's like considered rare or not. It doesn't matter. And then he suddenly messaged me, door didn't close for MRT. So at this point, I started to feel a little bit weird in the sense that I kind of had the feeling that he just wants to chat with people and is not really saying anything specific. So, like, again, I don't care if you're 12 years old, 22 years old, 32 years old, 42. I am going to treat all of you the exact same way. So I asked him, why are your messages so random? And then I told him I don't know what he's trying to convey. Because the thing is, it doesn't matter if you're neurodivergent or neurotypical. When you just message people really random and weird things like this, it we're gonna be really confused as to what you're trying to tell us. It's like, so I told him, okay, this is a really trivial issue, and then it would have been resolved very quickly. So I asked again, like, why are you telling me all these things? So I even told him specifically, don't say I don't know. You have to give me a reason why you are telling me these sorts of things. And then so he admitted that he just likes talking to people in general. And so I just reiterated my point. And then I just continued saying stuff. And then at this point, I was getting a little bit disappointed because he still emphasizes on the whole is a cameo rare thing. So I just told him upfront, do not focus on the rarity of the cameos. And then I also tell him, in case is quite shocked about why I happen to be so upfront or confrontational, rude towards him, I tell him that this is exactly how I talk to people. And at this point, I was like, okay, maybe this guy has like needs to work on his comprehension skills. So I was like, snap film whatever you want, cause I told him I already have people feeding me like live cameo information, so that I didn't really need it urgently. It's not that I don't need it. Any help form of help is welcome. It's just I don't really need him to give it to me urgently, especially like I don't want such a young person or maybe even a neurodivergent to become so obsessed or like addicted to, let's say, chasing cameos to the point whereby they end up neglecting other aspects in life, something along those lines. I mean, then he got the wrong idea that, okay, I'll stop tipping you off. No, I didn't mean that. I was just saying that you don't have to make it your priority. Of course, it's good if you genuinely want to tip me off, but what I was really trying to convey is that it's not the priority. But given his comprehension skills at this point, I decided not to say anything further because, like, regarding that, because it'll just confuse him even more. So then I was like, okay, informing me what's running around any particular day. No, no, you can, but I'm just informing you that I have like adequate information, but you can still choose to tell me. And then I told him honestly, my main message is that just because a cameo is not rare or it's a perm buzz doesn't mean you don't give attention to it in the sense that like and then I told him it's not good to film buses only because they're on cameo. That's not the point of like liking buses in general. That's just and then I was just very direct towards him. I'm like, that's just snapping and filming buses for clout. And he may or may not understand the word clout, so I just broke it down for him. And then I just said basically like trying to show off to people that you caught this cameo or that cameo. And then he was like, okay, he kind of get it. He kind of got it. Non cameo still okay. Cause I don't know what kinds of like bus enthusiasts he had been hanging out with prior to me, but I could feel that he was a little scared in like maybe a little bit scared in telling people perms instead of cameos. Like maybe he has been scolded by bus enthusiasts, other bus enthusiasts for saying cameos that are actually perms or stuff. But then again, I was like, there is no reason for the bus community in general to get mad at people when they mistook a bus for being on cameo or perm. It's just like really trivial and dumb stuff. So I was like, back to my previous point, you can tell me you can just bus spot, and then I was also like, if you're gonna private message me, you need to tell me like what's so important or what's so specific or special about the bus. It's like, is its door broken, is its door, does it have door interlock, or does the gearbox or the transmission sound weird, does it have a loud radiator, does it have a special doors closing or bus stopping chime or stuff like that. It's like, even though most neurotypical bus enthusiasts, they don't really specify it out like this, like they don't actually list it out, they are able to say what's special about a certain bus. And um if we're not sure, then we would just clarify, hey, what's special about this bus. It's like, I only said this because he was like messaging me really random stuff. Okay, I hope his name is still hidden, by the way. So then I offered him, if he's interested in spotting in general, he could just compile it and then I would save keep the list for him. And the reason why I do this is because sometimes even though you're just like reporting cameos or reporting perms, like perm spotting or anything along those lines, the bus community has like this really bad habit of judging people for doing nothing. It's like they just have to like say something. And I don't know if this guy has been like bullied beforehand. That's why he started messaging me. It's like sometimes they don't outright tell you that they have been bullied or what. They're maybe a bit too embarrassed to admit. But I was like, okay. Like when I have this conversation with him, when I had this conversation, like I was thinking about like, hey, what's his intention? Has he gotten mistreated by other bus enthusiasts, but he's afraid to tell me or something along those lines? So I was like, okay, I can safe keep the list for you just in case you don't want to show it to other people, because they judge you for like spotting cameos or like spotting perms in the first place, which I think is bullshit. But I was like, in case people happen to be judging him, I was like, okay, you can use this chat as in like my conversation with him. He could just basically spot buses every day, dump it here, and I told him you don't have to like separate between perms or cameos, even though okay, the thing is because I want to develop his critical thinking a bit. I've already said what I wanted to say, so he doesn't have to separate it between like perms or cameos. I was like, he could just compile like a big list of everything and just dump it here, and I will be fine with it. So, and I told him in future, like let's say years down the road, you want to look back at your own spottings, then I told him even if I don't respond, it's not because I am not interested or I don't have any, or it's like, sorry, even if I don't respond, it's not because I'm not interested or I don't care about this person or whatever. It's more of like sometimes I'm just not in the mood to like respond to things, and it's nothing to do with him or anything. It's just if he's compiling them and then he's like quite sad that I didn't respond or anything. That's why I tell him beforehand that like you could just use this chat as a compilation, and I also tell him exactly the reasons why I respond or don't respond. So I then told him outright, don't take it personally. This is a space for you to put your bus spottings and stuff like that. So the reason why I'm even saying all this is because there is a group of people that have issues with me being rude, or they get triggered by me saying, oh, just casually, just very, very casually saying, oh, I carry the bus community when it comes to documentation and stuff like this. Again, when you look at it objectively, it's true. And it's not because I want to brag about it. That is because, like, the reason why I even say things like, without me, you guys don't have the B5LH footage or stuff like that. I only say this because I do not trust the Singapore bus community when it comes to like overall documentation and stuff like that. Because you do know that there is this Discord server known as Transit SG, TSG in short, right? I swear, those people inside, they either have missing chromosomes or like are actual legit psychopaths. And if that happens to be true, I don't want to judge, but again, this is just a reason, probably a reason for their thuggish behavior, and the lack of moderation in that server also doesn't help matters in the sense that like the rogues, they recruit more and more 13 to 19 year olds, and then they kind of, I don't know how to put it, but it's like they kind of get influenced by them. They start becoming rogue themselves and stuff like that. And keep in mind that the person whom I talk to, that demographic, be it kid, neurodivergent, or what, they are the most vulnerable. So if you do not develop critical thinking, like if you don't develop their critical thinking when they are still like young, like around 12 or 13, by the time they how to say, by the time they grow older, and especially if they have bad influence from those people, they are going to uh their attitude is their like attitude is like gonna change for the worse. That's how I could put it. And to elaborate, I mean, I post a video about 28 B5LHOS, and then the people saw my name, they got pissed off that like my name appeared in the search algorithm, and they just needed to vent about it because they dislike me. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not expecting people to like me, but I still have every right to say what needs to be said in general. Because the people in Transit SG are like, I don't know, the fact that they're actually actively searching for cameos is actually a promising sign. But then at the same time, it's like there are also people inside there that, they are like, you ride the bus, it's good enough already. And then they are like, just snap outside. It's like, you don't have to snap, you don't have to film and stuff like that. Just riding the bus is okay. But if you realize, like just yesterday, they officially announced, by the way, I already sort of knew this beforehand, but I just didn't really want to say it, that a certain bus operator won the Tampines package, right? And because of that, instantly, at that instant when it became publicly known, I mean, at the back of my mind, I already had that. I already thought of that, so I was like, okay, whatever spawns in Tampines, that's like especially on the Tampines bus package services, like a B5 LH spawning, I need to treasure it because there's not going to be many more opportunities in the future um, to see the B5 LHs on those services anymore because the B5 LHs they are not going over to East Coast Integrated Depot ECID. They are going to stay with SBS. They would just do other Bedok North Depot bus services. Like they would probably just roam around Bedok instead of like Tampines. So that's why I was like, okay, when the B5LH spawns on something on a service in Tampines, that's shit. When they spawn on a bus service that happens to be part of the Tampines bus package, I was like, okay, I need to treasure this moment. I need to like actually go and get it, that kind of thing. But apparently, when I actually do that and I don't even cause trouble, some people they just have something against me, so they have to like say, "You just ride the bus. You don't need to snap. You don't have to like film." But here's the thing, I don't mind if he has this mindset. Like I'm not gonna control him. But what I'm not going to allow to happen is him starting like a breeding ground. How do I say it? It's like I don't want TSG or whatever server. It probably includes like Heejin's own server as well, because it's largely unmoderated. Even Heejin himself admits that. I am not going to allow these places to become breeding grounds for this kind of mindset whereby you could take buses, be it perm or cameos, for granted. Because these are the groups of like rogue bus enthusiasts. The truth is, they just want to gatekeep stuff. They just want to hide cameos, fake cameos, and all sorts of things so that they get the good content and then everybody else doesn't get their slice of the pie. So usually that group of people would be mad at me for like just giving live locations of the cameos because they want to hide it. These are the groups of bus enthusiasts you have to stop because they don't truly like buses. They are only using it for personal gain and clout. That's all. And if you're gonna have an issue with the things I say about clout and everything, you say, and no, you cannot assume that people are using it for clout. No, whatever they say in that server is it's already proof that these people are really using it for clout. So don't come at me and say that like, oh, I never give evidence of those people that are using it for clout. I literally gave you guys evidence. I'm gonna have to refer back to like what I said. So again, be it perm or cameo, you need to cherish these buses because they only have like 17 years of lifespan. Some of them have like 2 years extension. Some of them have like 2 plus 1 year extension, which means after the 2 years, there is still a choice for you to continue extending it for 1 year or not. Some of the KUBs have had 2 plus 1. Some are just two, but the 2 plus 1 thingy is a relatively new thing that they implemented like months ago because the electric buses just aren't coming in fast enough. I wonder why, but yeah. So I already explained how I don't trust the Singapore bus community when it comes to like documentation in general. I've repeated that so many times already at this point. And so because of that, I don't want them to tunnel because this bus is perm, this bus is cameo or what QoS. I don't care. Just if you see an OC500 LE or a KUB or a Ride or a Citaro, just or a Man A22 Euro 5, just snap it or film it, whatever. Just keep a copy of yourself. Just keep a copy for yourself. I mean, I'm sorry. And the reason why I said this is because like I need to develop critical thinking within these people because like I said, they are the most vulnerable to be recruited into these cliques, especially if they go around hyping a certain bus only when it cameos. I myself film I myself film perms as well. But I cannot say the same for the other people. So the more they go tunnel vision on the rare cameos and the importance of snapping them, the higher likelihood is that they would be recruited into these rogue cliques when they start validating people for the wrong reasons, especially. You like it, and it cannot be helped. It's like when somebody validates you, be it for the right or wrong reasons, you would feel welcome, safe, and secure, right? And then naturally, you would just get recruited into those cliques, and then you would be influenced by that kind of bad behavior. So that is the reason why I happen to be upfront or even at times like rude towards people. The thing is, like, I don't want to hide anything that I want to say. I'm just going to say it out. It's just me. It's the same thing when I tell them that you have to have a reason. You cannot just do things randomly, that kind of thing. Even when it's random, you could also say, oh, I don't really have a specific reason, but I feel like that at this moment, or I feel like this in that moment. I don't know, but yeah. Again, like when you want to correct people or tell people something, you have to be specific about it. You don't just tell people like, okay, I know I am guilty of like saying people need to read the room, right? But when you are actually trying to help or correct people, you need to be specific about it. But then again, if after a few attempts they are still unable to read the room, then you kind of just give up, right? Like trying to tell them what's wrong or what's right. Like I I have had certain commenters. It's like I tell them what's wrong, they don't even respond, and they continue their own behavior. You know who you are. And at that point, I was like, okay, I just give up, and I'll just tell them to read the room, or just okay, maybe I just try to hint to them, hey, do you realize that what you're saying is a little weird, or like what you're saying doesn't add up, doesn't fit the context, is not relevant to the topic, or something along those lines. So I just hint them. Usually I would specify, but if it's like repeated occurrences, then I would just like kind of give up, you know. So again, this explains why I said this as well. Which again goes back to why I even said this in the first place. Just in case this guy has really been mistreated by other people. And yes, admittedly, I could be nicer about certain things, but it's like based on experience, usually that just doesn't work with the bus community in general. So if I happen to be confrontational about certain things, I'm sorry, like I really tried in the past. The bottom line is it is a good thing that people are even interested in buses in general, but I just want them to realize that there is a fine line between liking buses, like actually truly liking them, as opposed to just seeing buses as a hobby and using it to farm likes on Instagram or on any other social media site, trying to claim exclusivity and stuff like that. I myself hunt the rare cameos, but I do film the perms as well. And the reason why I even film the cameos is because there is I know they're rigged, but they have to be rigged in order to happen in this case. Nobody, a non-bus enthusiast in the right mind, would just consistently spawn B5LHs out of nowhere. I mean like getting them to roam freely, run wild. Even Volvo B10 BLE CNGs, they had restrictions in the past as to what services they could potentially do and not do. And again, because the whole point is that they had to be stunted in order to like rigged in order to roam free. And because of this, this is really this opportunity that just doesn't come by very often. So when the stunts actually happen, that's why I go for it. And also because, as I explained many times, I don't trust them when it comes to the documentation in general. So I take it upon myself to actually film these cameos. I'm sorry I didn't get the 292, but that was only because my phone was already low on battery and I was tired. So yeah. And it just so happened to be the exact same day that Those people, they started beefing with me and provoking me for no reason. Like, they don't care about their own country's bus history. I'm fine with that. But don't tell other people who really want to preserve it, keep a record of it, to stop doing the things that they're doing. That's just messed up. And unless you yourself actually put in effort to film all the B5LH and H's and stuff like that, I don't think you have the right to come and tell me that, oh, I should not be complaining about this or that. Because I actually put in effort, unlike 99% of you guys. So if you're going to spin this into, oh, I'm just trying to show off because I got most of the B5LHs under SBS services and you didn't, that's your problem. Again, it's because I don't trust you guys. That's about it for cameos. Perms, please document them as well. Because I don't want people to be tunneling on whether this bus is perm or not. Yeah.